Quick disclaimer before I get into the video, this video is going to only be about the 4 presidents who died of natural causes, not about the presidents who were assassinated. That can be a completely separate video if you guys want, but I'm only focusing on these 4. Hey guys, Moses here, and since recently there's been a lot of news about the current president's health, the historian in my head reminded me of all the other presidents in American history who died in office of natural causes. Time to let out my history geekiness and get right into the video. So President Harrison, after winning the election and at his inauguration, his speech lasted over 2 hours and has the record for being the longest inauguration speech ever given by a US president. And the reason this ended badly for him was because of the fact it was a cold, rainy March day and he refused to wear a coat, probably because he was an older man at this time and he wanted to look very strong and, not make the American people think he was an old, weak man. This did not end well because he caught pneumonia and died a month later. This means he holds the record for 1, being the first president ever to die in office, and 2, being the president that had the shortest term. He only was in there for a month. So, moral of the story, wear a coat. Zachary Taylor, on July 4th, which was a very bad date for a lot of politicians back then, ate a bowl of cherries and drank a pitcher of milk. He then died 5 days later. The reason I mentioned the cherries and milk was because a lot of people naturally thought he was poisoned. But in 1991, he was exhumed for a medical examination and they found no evidence he was poisoned, and it was discovered he just died from a stomach disease. The moral of the story is, don't drink milk and eat cherries, I guess. Speaking of which, this murderer is still at large and is known for killing people with these 2 things. Report her immediately. So Warren G. Harding died on a speaking tour in San Francisco. His death, however, became a huge conspiracy because of the fact his wife burned all of his papers, and not to mention there was a lot of corruption in his administration at the time. Look up the Ohio Gang and you'll be very, very surprised. Okay, so Roosevelt the sequel, which is never as good as the original, #Teddy for life, was the longest sitting president. However, he was diagnosed with polio and was genuinely a sick person. So the fact he was able to be president for 13 years, not to mention a war president, props to him, I guess. But unfortunately, a year into his 4th term, he was found dead at his home from a cerebral hemorrhage, and after his death, Congress made a law saying a president cannot serve more than 2 terms. So you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe. I upload every Saturday, and I hope to see you all again next week. Adios.